でもそれは最後の殺し方という意味でしょ？
と申しますと？
私が何度どれほどの殺し方をしようとも生き返らせて最後に非分の殺し方に沿えばいいわけでしょ？
Uh-oh.
つまり私がどう遊ぼうと結局は問題ないってことになるわ。こんなに面白い力誰がおとなしくなんかするもんか。
Her wild logic was, for an endless switch, an extremely valid argument. Not gonna lie. The sacrifices for the fourth Twilight and onward had the prescribed protocols for the method of killing, represented by things like gouge the head. However, they referred to the way they died in the end. In other words, in the process leading up to that, she was free to tease and kill them however she wanted. She just had to keep on reviving them, and follow the rules only when she killed them the final time. Even while Noby glimpsed some talent as a witch in her innocent cruelty, he was beginning to notice a naturally brutal side of her.
魔女は見習いが最も残忍と申しますが、本当のようですね。ご随意にと申し上げたいところですが、ここはやはり自重なさった方が賢明でしょう。彼らは銃を持っています。銃のような反魔法力の高い武器は魔女や悪魔の天敵です。
What an interesting analogy you got there. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, even if Beatrice kept telling us that guns wouldn't work against her, Rosa did manage to defeat quite a lot of demons at the end of the second game, so maybe there is some use for guns. It's just the way you use them differs. The witch stared blankly at this demon butler, who wasn't explicitly afraid of guns. Really? Is Keanu afraid of guns? Keanu, why are you afraid of guns?
話が違うわ。魔女は弾丸なんか追いかけられてもへっちゃらじゃないのかしら。
My man Keanu Reeves over here.
いいえ、普通の人間と全く同じように致命傷となります。
Normally he wouldn't be opposed to guns. Lots of guns.
その弱点を蹴取らせないために、多くの魔女は厳重に防御結界や家具の守備によって身辺を固めるのです。
私にその防御結界というのはあるの？
銃弾をも無効にする結界の構築には十分な準備と儀式が必要です。
Yeah, Keanu surely knows what he's talking about. Like stopping bullets from hitting him.
残念ながら今のベアトリーチェ様にはございません。また銃弾を防げるほどの家具の召喚も現在はその準備がありません。
これほどの魔力を持つ大魔女になりながら、それでもやはり鉛玉に怯えなければならないのね。不愉快だけど仕方がないわ。
To think that Beatrice was able to summon mountains of cake and oceans of juice, and yet she cannot summon barriers and furniture.
となれば、家具を呼び出して私の手足とすればいいわけね。
はい。危険に身をさらさず、家具に全てを任すのもまた魔女の優雅なるたしなみでございます。ここは家具に任せ、ベアトリーチェ様は安全なところへお隠れを。
わかったわ。煉獄の七姉妹？誰でもいいわ。適当に二人。
They have names, you know. Leviathan and Belphegor responded to that call. Hello.
嫉妬のレビアタン、ここに。
怠惰のベルフェゴール、ここに。
あんたたちの力を見せてもらうわ。標的はルドルフとキリエ。秀吉はダメよ。さあ、 あなたたちがどれだけ残酷な家具なのか、私に見せてみて。
恐れながら先代様より不要なる残酷行為は控えるようご命令を賜っております。
でも先代様のご命令の範囲内でいたぶることはできると思います。それでもよろしいですか？
わかった。それで妥協するわ。簡単に殺してはダメよ。徹底的に追い詰めて死の恐怖を味わわせてから殺すのよ。それでいいのかしら、ロノウェ？
はい。程度をお考えいただければ問題ないかと思います。
ならお行きなさい。
はい、お任せを。
相手は銃で武装しています。あなたたちほどのものならばかわすことはたやすいでしょうが、もしも当たれば致命傷ですよ。くれぐれも用心を。
ご心配なく、そのような無様は晒しません。
The two sisters of Purgatory vanished. After bowing, Ronue also disappeared.
殺し方にまでルールがね。なんで私が先代様に気兼ねしなくちゃならないの？窮屈でつまらない。
As the witch looked up at the portrait of the predecessor Beatrice, hanging in the hall, she cursed. The three had already arrived at the kitchen, and were getting food supplies. Alright, well, if I am to find a connection between a magic claim that I am about to see and a human claim, then maybe the connection between Eva and Beatrice will help. Maybe in human claim, Hideyoshi is being brought here by Kyrie and Rudolf to be questioned about the gold that he and Eva could possibly be hiding. And now Eva comes into the mansion as well and tries to help Hideyoshi. And thus, chaos ensues. Murder is gonna happen. Question is though, is the door really closed? Cause we saw Beatrice close the door with her magic, but in human claim, did Eva have a spare key to lock the door? Cause, well, Kyrie, Rudolf, and Hideyoshi had the entrance key. Like maybe Eva managed to use the master key in that case, or vice versa. Like the group had the master key and Eva used Eva used the one at the entrance key. So that, or maybe in human claim the door will never be locked to begin with. I guess we shall see. Thinking of the possibility that poison had been mixed in, they gave up the alluring fruits and vegetables and gathered a whole cardboard box full of only the safe canned foods. It was very heavy, but piling it on the cart, they could carry it well enough. With all that, there will be plenty for 10 people to hold out until tomorrow's breakfast. There will be enough while they waited for the boat. The two men were supposed to be devoted to guard duty, but the weight of the load was tough on Kyrie even with the cart. Hideyoshi, who professed himself strong, switched to being the cart pusher, and Rudolf and his wife took up the task of guard duty.
これだけあれば、ジョージたちも満腹やろ。帰るまでが遠足や。行くで。
When Hideyoshi vigorously proclaimed their departure, Kyrie frowned, looking as though she was gazing into the distance. But if Hideyoshi pushes the car, then how is he going to be able to... I mean, it will take him some more time to aim with his gun if he is the one pushing it. There was a wall in that direction. No, if her gaze could go through that, the hole was beyond it. Unless Hideyoshi is giving Kyrie the gun, in which case...
どうしたキリエ。
チリチリするの。嫌な予感がするわ。
Kyrie stopped, narrowing her eyes even further.
女の勘か。
In times like this, Kyrie's intuition surpassed reason. Rudolf trusted that intuition.
ええ、多分私たちは待ち伏せされてる。さっきまではその気配はなかったの。でもたった今感じたわ。たった今、私たちは待ち伏せられた。
なら来た道を戻る義理はねえな。そこに勝手口があるじゃねえか。そっちから出よう。
Rudolf made to lock the back door. When things were carried into the kitchen, they never passed through the part of the mansion that the family caveman went through. So I saw the back door. That was probably a slope for transporting things. Surely they would be able to leave through there with a cart, right?
なんだこりゃ。
Wrong.
家庭。くそ、どうなってんだ。
開かないの？
ああ、壊れてんのかな。びくともしねえぜ。
Rudolf tried various things, using force, then coaxing it. But the lock was as hard as a stone. It didn't even budge.
無理せんと玄関から出ようや。
Oh, okay. Hideyoshi still has the gun. Okay.
もたもた時間を潰す方が今は惜しいで。
I mean, like I don't wanna see Hideyoshi as the bad guy over here. But if I'm to think that Eva is the one that killed Maria and Rosa, and Eva told Hideyoshi about all this, he would surely be affected about this. But if he is the one that has the gun right now, his priority would be to protect himself from any suspicious people that might end up killing him because of Eva finding the gold and such. But I mean, that's the reason why I'm thinking that Hideyoshi should keep his gun, so that he would protect himself from Rudolf and Kyrie, who would want to do something bad to Eva and Hideyoshi for finding the gold and all that. But that is all assuming that Rudolf and Kyrie are also bad guys, which I don't want to see that either. I mean, Rudolf I can see that, but Kyrie? I mean, come on. Don't make me question Kyrie and Hideyoshi as well.
これが罠だってのか。
わからない。用心して。
With strained expressions, the three of them returned to the hall again and headed for the entrance.
誰だ。
The instant they exited into the hall, Rudolf noticed a suspicious shadow right in front of them and yelled. In that instant, a storm of gold leaves started blowing, and gold butterflies dyed the area a golden color.
信じられん。人間ごときが我らの待ち伏せを予見したか。
私のせいじゃないわよ。気配は消してたもん。
躊躇しないで。撃って。
Nope. No hesitation there. The two guns spouted fire. The lead bullets blasted right through the pair's magic defense, as easily as though it were a wet paper wall. Yep, I guess here's another example of how guns can affect magical beings, now that I'm thinking of. So maybe all that talk in the early games about how guns are ineffective, it was just a bluff, coming from Beatrice and Maria and all. Or rather, they are ineffective, as long as the witch is very smart about it. But the two who should have been there had disappeared. Certainly, guns were very frightening objects for them, but there was no need to fear as long as they weren't hit. They at least had enough speed to dodge those.
ちょっと名乗りも上げさせないつもり？これだから人間は嫌なのよ。
Leviathan protested, popping her head out from behind a pillar in the shadow of their staircase, a full 10 meters from where she had supposedly been.
ベアトリーチェ様のご命令により貴様らを撃つ。時間をかけてホフレトのご命令だ。抵抗は自由。されど無駄と知れ。
That voice came from overhead. Befall could be seen on top of the whole chandelier. Nice view. Elegantly looking down upon them, she proclaimed their execution with a cruel smile.
なんなんやこの姉ちゃんたちは。
台車は忘れて。相手は2人よ。3回すれば全員を追うことはできないわ。
Yeah, that's a terrible idea. You are right at the entrance of the mansion. Just open the door and run to the guest house where everybody else is. All three of them were well acquainted with the inside of the mansion. They had already made plans to run off in separate directions in the case of a crisis, returning to the guest house by breaking windows or leaving through a back door. Fighting was forbidden, as long as they could get away.
36系逃げるが勝ちだぜ。
The three of them escaped into the depths of the mansion at full tilt. I mean, there are windows near the entrance too. You can break them and get up. They already left. Okay. The two furniture calmly watched them.
私は女の方をやるわ。
Uh-oh.
あんたは男。
了解した。
The two pieces of furniture in the shadow of the pillar and on the chandelier burst apart their human-like forms, and, leaving behind only the sound of hopping beetles colliding with walls, they pursued their respective targets. Their speed was overwhelming, and they easily blocked the other's path of retreat. Man. Yeah, like a bunch of high-speed bouncing red jelly beans. Goodness.
家具のお手並み拝見させてもらうわ。楽しませてくれるといいのだけど。
ベアトリーチェ様、緑に姿を現されない方がよろしいかと。
キングは緑に中央を動かないものよ。それが王者の魔女の貫禄よ。
In front of Rudolf, who had boldly tried to escape to the second floor, Befall was already standing in the way.
抵抗も、そして闘争も無駄だ。お前は何も考えなくていい。ただ目を閉じているだけでいい。私がすべて優しく終わらせてやる。
あんたいい嫁さんになれるな。疲れて帰ってくる旦那はそういうの喜ぶぜ。
この後に及んで不埒な話をする余裕があるとは。良き獲物、ベアトリーチェ様、感謝します。死ね
Rudolf fired first. But even before the bullet could hit her, Befall had already moved behind Rudolf's back. There she stood, her arm raised above her, a purple trail extending from it. However, even before that arm could decapitate Rudolf, unbelievably, Rudolf had swung his gun behind him. The barrel pointed behind his back, from the same motion which he had reloaded the sawed-off gun one-handedly. It was pointing right at Befall's chest. Tank! Clunk. The sound of the ejected empty cartridge finally hitting the wall after the reload. Pew! In other words, it meant that the next shot was already fully loaded. without turning around, his gun pointing right at Belfcore's chest. Rudolf grinned.
やるな。執念男の分際で。
西部劇世代をなめるんじゃねえぜ。ガキどもにレバーアクションの渋みは語らせねえ。
Just like Rudolf, Kyrie was also confronting a demon stake in the first floor corridor.
間抜けなやつね。夫と一緒に逃げればよかったのに。さっきのは根性の別れになったわよ。
大丈夫よ。うちの人、こういうのとても得意なの。すぐに白馬で迎えに来てくれるわ。私が困った時、彼が助けに来てくれなかったことはないんだから。アスムさんがいた頃であってもね。
アスム？
本当に仲のいい夫婦ね。嫉妬するわ。私は嫉妬のレビアタン。嫉妬こそ我が力、我が怒り、我が源泉。
同感ね。嫉妬は女の力の原点よ。それが力だというなら、あなたごときお嬢ちゃんになんか負けないんだから。
嫉妬を司る私によくも言えたわね。お前たち夫婦を再会などさせるものか。悲劇的な別れを与えてやるわ。
The armed Leviathan swung true purple. He was a magic blade that cut by the power of malice. Kyrie guarded herself against that with her gun. Okay, so that truly is Hideyoshi's gun, unless she had herself another gun. Even though the magic blade should have been able to cut through metal like butter, the gun, with its extremely high magic resistance, was able to block the blade as easily as if it were a rolled up newspaper. Rapidly, 2 times, 3 times. He blocked all of them. And, without missing the opening created when that purple trail took a long sweat upward, Kyrie kicked Leviathan in the stomach with her heel. Almost like she was a lightly dancing feather, Leviathan was knocked away. Before the demon stake's feet touched ground again, Kyrie had already perfectly captured Leviathan, who was in midair, down the barrel of her gun. From midair, the two women who had spoken to each other of envy as power met each other's gaze.
撃てる？その引きがね。
私、夫のいないところでは残酷よ。
Wow. My god. It's as if humans truly are getting stronger and stronger as the games progress. I mean, I've seen how Rosa fought the demons. It seems that you give anybody a gun and they can even fight back against the stakes at this point. Alright! Rudolf tumbled down the staircase. He had been gradually chased down by Belfcore and had been pushed back into the original hole.
先代様の家具もなかなかやるわね。派手さに欠けるけど。
ベアトリーチェ様、まだ終わっていません。姿を現されては危険です。
お前、まさか姉貴なのか？
それはかつて私の名だった。でも今は違うわよ、ルドルフ。
言わなくても分かってるさ。
ねえ、ルドルフ。
黄金の魔女、ベアトリーチェだって言うんだろ。
どうしてわかったの？
ローザが殺された時から想像はついてたさ。 ローズ、許しね。お前の地獄にお前の大嫌いな姉を送っちまうことをよ。
ベアトリッチ様、危ない。
Rudolf pointed an unforgiving barrel of his gun at the witch who claimed to have once been his sister. Alright, go Rudolf! But Belfogor could not permit that, and savagely attacked. She sprung at him, vanished, and got behind him. If he dodged that attack, she got behind him again. She vanished over and over, each time teleporting into Rudolf's blind spot. It was almost like she was a fairy. As she blinked in and out of the vision, Belfogor instantly drove towards Rudolf.
これはこれで楽しいかもしれない。ルドルフ、あんたの検討がどこまで続くかゆっくり見物させてもらうわ。
Then, a dull tearing sound and Rudolf's cry of anguish intermingled. Rudolf had finally reacted too slowly in his dance with the purple trail, which pressed upon him, and he had let it lightly cut him on his side. A single wound delayed a single one of his actions. That caused a new wound, which delayed him from acting again. Belfogor's dance began to saw Rudolf whole. Watching Rudolf's body gradually get carved up, his former sister let out a shrill laugh. Leviathan could no longer hide her irritation that Kyrie was absolutely refusing to allow her to deliver a fatal wound.
私は本当に駆動よね。7姉妹の中でいつも一番成長が遅かったの。いつも私が遅くて弱くて間抜けだったの。その劣等感が嫉妬となり、それを力として変換した時、私は姉妹の誰にも負けない力を得たのよ。
少女時代の程よい劣等感は大事よ。女に化粧と努力を教えてくれるわ。
人間ごときにその力の限りを尽くすのは気に入らないけれど、夫に全幅の信頼を寄せるあなたへの嫉妬を私は力に変える。気に入らないのよ。なんで命のやり取りをしてるのにあんたはそんなに余裕なの？
どうしてかしらね。
分かってるのよ。必ず夫が助けに来てくれて自分を助けてくれるって信じきってるのよ。すごいじゃない？その信頼、嫉妬に値するわ。
What kind of trust do we sisters have in each other? We sisters are always looking down on each other, trying to thoroughly lambast each other, and turn things from bad to worse.
いつも姉妹たちにいじめられてきたわ。誰か一人だけでも味方になってほしいとずっと思ってたわ。だからその一人だけの味方がいて全幅の信頼を寄せることができるあなたに、私は最上の嫉妬を感じるの。その夫を信じきった余裕ある表情、嫉妬が力を与えてくれるのを感じるわ。これは超えちゃうかもね。音速。
Leviathan turned herself into a stake, and the speed of her flight as she attacked was proportional to the strength of her envy.
姉妹たちに見下されたあの日、私は成長の早い他の6人を心の底から嫉妬した。7日7番をかけて嫉妬したわ。その末に得た私の力と速度を見るがいい。死ねー後ろ宮キリエー。
the demon stake exposed her true form, leaping about at a terrible speed. The noise from her colliding with and bouncing off the walls sounded like a machine gun. By now, Kyrie probably couldn't tell whether it was a single stake or a swarm of beetles flying and bouncing around. Leviathan was certain of greater than 100% chance of victory, from the bottom of her heart. Then, Kyrie spoke with an unbelievably calm voice.
ルドルフさんと最初から付き合っていたのは私だったのよ。アスムさんが白々しく間に入り込んできて、ちゃっかりと解任したのよ。ルドルフさんは悪くないわ。あの女が体を武器にして立ち回って、ルドルフさんに婚約せざるを得ないよう追い詰めたのよ。
You mean Balor's biological mother?
アスムさんはバトラ君を身ごもってたわ。そして同じ頃、私もまた男の子を身ごもってた。運命的なことに、私たちの出産日は共に同じ日だったわ。そしてアスムさんはバトラ君を出産したわ。だけれど、私はダメだった。思ったことがあるわ。もしダメだったのがアスムさんで、出産したのが私だったなら、ルドルフさんは婚約を解消して私と結婚してくれたかしら。でも私は子供を産めなかった。だからアスムさんが死ぬまで、そしてエンジェを解任するまで、私はアスムさんを呪ったわ。嫉妬したわ。アスムさんなんか死んでしまえ。そして私と再婚してほしいってずっと嫉妬して呪って、そしてやっとアスムさんが死んだ。私は確信したわ。私には魔法の力があって、それが呪いとなってアスムさんを殺したんだって確信したわ。でも私の嫉妬の炎は収まらない。
Jesus.
内緒よ。バトラ君を見るたびにね、あの女を思い出しちゃうの。そしてバトラ君を見るたびにね、もし私の子が生まれていたら同じ年だっただろうなって思ってしまうの。私は今でも彼女を嫉妬し苛まれてる。今もこれからも未来永劫にね。7日7番姉妹を嫉妬したですって。
そうよ。
笑わせるなよ小娘が。てめえに男を取られて18年間嫉妬し続ける女の狂気がわかるかよ。
Kyrie! If Leviathan's power had 24 hours times 7 days, or 168 hours worth of speed, then the power that Kyrie had accumulated was 24 hours in 1 day, 365 days in 1 year, and for 18 whole years. Even without counting leap years, it was 157,680 hours. Compared to Leviathan's power and speed, it was more than 938 times greater. So then, even if Leviathan was soaring at the speed of sound, 1,225 kilometers per hour, to Kyrie's eyes, he only looked like 1 out of 938 of that. So then, 1,225 divided by 938 is a speed of 1.3 kilometers per hour. They say that a human's walking speed is 4 kilometers per hour, so it was even less than half of that. Almost the same speed as a baby crawling on the floor. So then. In unit time slowed so much you could count all the bits of dust falling through the air. Kyrie looked at the demon's stick with pity. She pitied the slowness at which it came towards her. And she lazily raised the barrel of her gun. almost as though she was trying to swallow the demon stake up with a gun barrel.
恋も嫉妬もあなた全然足りないの？出直してらっしゃい、お嬢ちゃん。
Jesus.
ルドルフ、先ほどまでの威勢はどこへ？池作りは魚が跳ねてるうちのいいわ。死んだら面白みも何もない。もう十分よ。殺しちゃえば。
そこまで刻まれてよくぞここまで耐えた。もう十分だ。あとは何も考えなくてよい。痛みなく生を奪い去っている。
待ってくれ。頼みがある。最後にあれがやってみて。
あれとは何か？
西部劇名物のあれだよ。背中を向け合ってから3歩歩いてズドンってやつ。
決闘か。よかろう。それにて根性の未練が尽きるならば受けてやる。
Rudolf raised his wound-covered body and turned his back to her. Oh my. Could it be that he has a plan? Belphegor responded and faced her back to his. Belphegor had a sense of integrity that was uncommon in a witch's furniture.
言っておく。たとえ私の眉間に銃口を突きつけたとしても、私はお前が引き金を引き、私の頭蓋骨に弾丸が至るよりも早く瞬間移動することができる。
ああ、そいつはもう骨身に染みてるぜ。お前は銃弾より早い。
それを知りつつ決闘を挑むお前の度胸に敬意を表し、月感謝せよ。
お前は律儀なやつだな。いい女だ。惚れそうだぜ。
始めるぞ。3歩で良いのだな。まずは1歩。
そして2歩。
3歩だ。これでいいのか？
そして3歩も歩いてまだ気づかねえなら俺の勝ちだな、お嬢ちゃん。
He cheated!
何
Rudolf turned around and fired off a bullet. Of course, Belphegor could easily see through the speed and trajectory of a bullet like that. It should have been no problem at all to dodge it. But a spray of fresh blood flew about. Belphegor had set up an elegant magical defensive barrier. But before an incarnation of anti-magic power such as that bullet, it was completely meaningless.
何やってんのよ。何当たっちゃってんの？
The bullet had hit Belphegor right in the chest. The pain from the lead caused her to grimace, as did the pain from the denial of magic.
許す。俺は卑怯な男だ。
興ざめだわ。魔女の家具ともあろうものが人間に敗れるなんて。恥を知りなさいよ。情けない、みっともない。勝手に這いつくばって死んじゃ
やめな、兄貴。こいつはかわせたんだ。だがかわさなかった。車線上に姉貴がいることに気づいたのさ。だから律儀なこいつはかわさずに受けて姉貴をかばった。大手飛車取りに最後に気づいたんだ。
見事。
悪く思うな。お前が3歩歩く間にそれに気づけたら俺は観念するつもりだった。
あの3歩は私へ手心だったか。 ようともしなかった。私は怠惰だった。
お前はいい女だったぜ。先に天国で化粧して待ってろ。きっと口説きに行くから。
As Befall slowly fell over, she lost even the power that kept her in a human form, and she turned as fine as gold dust, and melted into thin air. At that point, Kyrie dashed in. It seemed that she had defeated her pursuer with her own hands. To think that they managed to defeat the stakes like that. Well, that's quite lovely, but where is Hideyoshi? As she pointed the barrel of her gun straight at the witch, she ran up to the wound-covered Rudolf.
大丈夫？今誰か口説いてなかった？
ああ、いい女だったぜ。もちろん、お前の次程度にさ。悪いね、兄貴。チェックメイトだぜ。
The two of them pinned the witch down the barrel of their guns.
情けない家具たちね。
Oh! I'm such an idiot. Only now did I just think of this. Of how Kyrie might have been taken... About how Kyrie might have taken Hideyoshi's gun. Instead of the possibility that maybe Kyrie had her own gun. Kyrie was pretending that the cart was too heavy for her to push. And thus... She wanted Hideyoshi to push that cart instead, so that she would have his gun. Kyrie only pretended, so that she would have the gun. Okay, I see. I mean, that would be the highest possibility.
人間相手に遅れを取るなんて。
I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
情けない。くだらない。つまらない。
ベアトリーチェ様。ここは引くべきです。銃弾を防ぐ結界も家具もここにはありませんよ。
The witch began to let out a muffled laugh. He surprised not only Rudolf and Kyrie, but Noby as well. Because a situation like this, with two guns pointed at her, was not the one that could just be laughed off, even by a witch. But the witch laughed with pleasure.
そりゃあ、先代様の使い古しの家具じゃ無理で当然ね。私には私にふさわしい新しい家具じゃないとダメよ。私義理で使ったけど。もともとお風呂は嫌いなの。
As she said that, she looked down at Belfagor's remains, which had turned completely into a pile of gold dust, with disgust.
何の話をしてるかわからねえぜ。おとなしく両手を上げやがれってんだ。
Then, the witch obediently raised her hands. But instead of raising her hands because a gun was being pointed at her, it looked more like she was a conductor facing an orchestra, waving her conductor's baton.
さあさあおいでなさい。私にふさわしき家具たち。あんな安っぽい家具じゃなくて、もっともっと強力な残酷な
妙な真似はやめて。引き金を引くわ。
In response to the witch's call, the hole was once again buried in the color of gold. It was a wild dance of brilliantly radiant gold butterflies, and felt as though they had been swallowed up by an ocean of gold leaf. Noby was left shocked at that upsurge in magic power. That was because That was because it far surpassed even that of his former master. Are you kidding me? As their eyes were dazzled amidst the gold brilliance, a gunshot could be heard. Either Rudolf or Kyrie had fired a round. And after the golden glow had subsided, there was the witch, looking at least cool and composed. The bullet? Kyrie had definitely fired it into her, but it was not embedded anywhere in the witch's body. There it was. The bullet was fastened in midair right in front of the witch's chest.
防弾結界
A barrier which took even her predecessor a significant amount of preparation. In an instant. Noah's face was by now twisted in shock. Yappe. And the surprise did not stop there. The group of gold butterflies created two humanoid forms. He was a furniture summoning. So the butterflies peeled off and flew away, and beneath them, furniture in the shape of girls showed themselves. Oh no. New furniture. And they have bunny ears. And they look cute too. A deadly combination.
シエスタの姉妹兵
Chiester? What?
先代様でもおいそれと呼び出せなかったペンドラゴンの記念兵をいともたやすく
You must be joking, Ronoe. You're telling me that even Beato, with all her power and experience, can't summon them easily. And yet Beatrice over here did it so easily. You're joking here, right?
シエスタ410ここに
Chiester 410?
シエスタ45ここに
45?
私にふさわしい家具なんでしょうね、あんたたちは。
Those can't be your real names, right? Wait, 410? 45? There's over 400 of you out there?